Beneath our feet, there are worlds you will never see. Cities that once bustled with life, ambition, laughter, and betrayal, now sealed away under centuries of soil and silence. Imagine walking across a quiet meadow, not knowing that just meters below your boots lie the frozen streets of a civilization erased by time. What happened to them? How could entire cities vanish from the face of the earth, only to be rediscovered centuries, sometimes millennia later, in moments of pure archaeological shock? Before we journey into the earth, I want you to think about something. If you could uncover just one lost city, pull it out of history's shadow, what would it be? Drop your choice in the comments, because by the time you hear these stories, I guarantee your answer might change. Let's start our descent. Our first stop takes us to the bustling ancient Roman city of Pompeii, though the word city here doesn't fully capture its spirit. It was a Roman paradise set against the shimmering Bay of Naples, where wine flowed in the taverns, mosaics gleamed in the villas, and streets rang with the footsteps of traders, lovers, and thieves alike. The year was 79 CE. There had been tremors for days. The people of Pompeii shrugged them off. They lived at the base of Mount Vesuvius. Earthquakes were part of the bargain. But on August 24th, the bargain broke. Without warning, Vesuvius roared to life. A black column of smoke surged miles into the sky, blotting out the sun. The earth shuddered. Then came the ash, a choking, suffocating rain. Many fled, but thousands stayed. Perhaps they thought it would pass. It didn't. Superheated surges of bituminous rock and death cascaded down the volcano's flanks, racing toward Pompeii at over 100 miles an hour. It was over in moments, and here's where fate played its cruel trick. The very disaster that killed Pompeii preserved it in haunting detail. For centuries, it lay under meters of volcanic ash. Roof tiles remained in place, frescoes bright with color. Even the bread in the ovens, charred yet whole, waited for someone to find it again. That someone came in 1748 when excavators began unearthing a frozen day in Roman life, complete with the expressions of those who never escaped. But Pompeii's tragedy is famous. Let's dig deeper, literally, into a city you might not have heard of, Heracleion. Once upon a time, if you sailed into ancient Egypt from the Mediterranean, you'd pass through a port that was nothing short of dazzling. Heracleion, known to the Greeks, or Thonis, to the Egyptians, was a city of canals, towering temples, and trade. It was where Greece met Egypt, where pharaohs took tribute from distant kings, where the Nile opened its arms to the sea. But sometime in the 2nd century BCE, disaster came. Not from fire, but from the water itself. A combination of earthquakes, floods, and unstable silt caused massive portions of the city to sink beneath the waves. Heracleion simply vanished. Sailors whispered about its ruins, but it became a legend, a story to tell wide-eyed children. It wasn't until the year 2000 that French archaeologist Frank Godot stumbled upon it. Not on land, but 30 feet underwater, at the bottom of Akrotiri Bay. There, draped in silt and seaweed, lay colossal statues of gods, inscriptions and hieroglyphs, the remains of ships moored for eternity. It had been gone for 200 years, yet the water had kept its treasures astonishingly intact. It makes you wonder how many more cities lie quietly in the dark below the waves. Of course, the earth hides its secrets too, and sometimes it hides them in plain sight. In Turkey's Cappadocia region, the locals knew for centuries that the land was riddled with caves. But in 1963, a man renovating his home broke through a wall and found a tunnel. Following it, he realized it opened into a massive chamber, and that chamber led deeper and deeper still. What he had stumbled upon was the entrance to Derinkuyu, an underground city large enough to house over 20,000 people. Derinkuyu wasn't a mere refuge. It had ventilation shafts, wine presses, stables, schools, even a missionary training area. It went down 18 stories, an engineering marvel carved by human hands in the soft volcanic rock. Historians believe it was built as early as the 8th century BCE, later expanded by Byzantine Christians fleeing Arab invasions. Entire populations lived here for months, maybe years, sealed away from the surface world. Think about it. Above ground, armies could march, empires could fall, seasons could pass, and deep below, life went on in flickering lamplight. But the most dramatic rediscoveries are the ones where the city's fate reads like a twist ending. Take Akrotiri on the Greek island of Santorini. This Bronze Age Minoan settlement was a jewel of the Aegean, with multi-story homes, advanced plumbing, and vibrant art that still seems to breathe with color. Around 1600 BCE, however, the volcano on Santorini erupted in one of the most powerful explosions in human history. The blast wiped out much of the island and sent tsunamis crashing into distant shores. Yet, unlike Pompeii, no human remains have ever been found in Akrotiri. Archaeologists believe the inhabitants saw the signs: earthquakes, smoke, the sea retreating, and fled in time. The city was buried, forgotten, until farmers in 1967 uncovered its fresco-covered walls beneath layers of pumice. Walking through Akrotiri today feels unsettling. You're inside a ghost city where it seems everyone left just yesterday and never returned. But sometimes a city isn't destroyed in a single cinematic moment. Sometimes it simply disappears under the weight of time. Mohenjo-daro in modern-day Pakistan was one of the crown jewels of the Indus Valley civilization, thriving around 2500 BCE. It had grid-planned streets, a sophisticated drainage system, and what might have been one of the world's first public baths. And then, sometime around 1900 BCE, the city declined, slowly, quietly. Climate change, shifting rivers, and economic collapse likely drove its people away. When British archaeologists uncovered it in the 1920s, they were stunned to find a city so advanced it rivaled ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt. Yet it had left no temples, no monuments to kings, only orderly streets and the traces of a society that valued function over spectacle. It raises the question, how many great civilizations have we erased from history simply because they didn't leave behind stone pyramids? Now let's travel to Central America, to a city swallowed not by earth or fire, but by the jungle itself. For centuries, the Maya city of Tikal in Guatemala was little more than a rumor. Local lore spoke of stone temples hidden deep in the rainforest. Founded around 400 BCE, Tikal was once one of the most powerful city-states in the Maya world, home to tens of thousands, with towering pyramids piercing the canopy. But by the late 9th century, Tikal was abandoned, possibly due to drought, warfare, or the collapse of the political system. The jungle didn't just reclaim it, it erased it. For nearly 1,000 years, trees grew over palaces, vines choked plazas, roots split temples in two. It wasn't until the 19th century that explorers hacked their way into the ruins, revealing structures so massive they defied belief. Even today, much of Tikal remains unexcavated, an emerald green shroud hiding the bones of the empire. And then there are places that make you question the boundary between myth and reality. In the deserts of Syria lies Ubar, the Atlantis of the sands. Mentioned in the Quran and whispered about in Bedouin tales, it was said to be a city of great wealth that defied God's will and was swallowed by the desert as punishment. For centuries, it was dismissed as legend. But in '92, satellite imaging revealed ancient caravan routes converging on a site in Oman's Rub al-Khali desert. Excavations uncovered the remains of massive stone fortifications and a collapsed limestone cavern. Ubar, it seemed, had been real, and the shifting sands had hidden it for over 1,000 years. These cities, Pompeii, Heracleion, Derinkuyu, Akrotiri, Mohenjo-daro, Tikal, and Ubar, remind us of a truth both humbling and terrifying. No civilization, no matter how mighty, is immune to the forces of nature, time, or human folly. They also remind us that the ground beneath us is not as empty as we think. It is a library of forgotten stories, waiting for the right hands to open them. So the next time you're walking through a quiet field, or a forest path, or along a coastline, imagine that just below the surface, an entire city might be waiting. Silent, patient, unseen. If you enjoyed this journey into the buried past, give this video a like, subscribe to Time's Battlefield, and share it with your fellow history seekers, where the past is never truly dead. It's just waiting to be found.